Hi guys, welcome to ITS Tactical. Today we want to share with you a couple of alternatives for how you can store your paracord. If you're familiar with rope making or knot tying, then you may be familiar with some of the tools that have been around for a really long time, such as a marlin spike or a fid. And when I was looking at some loose paracord that was on my desk one day, I thought, you know, I have a tool handy to me, a crochet hook, that I wonder if it will help me to do something with this paracord to make it store better and be more functional, where I won't have to worry about it getting tangled up or falling apart. What I wanted to share with you today is how you can make your loose paracord look like a rectangle mat or even a little square. This was made using about 21 feet of just extra paracord, type 3 paracord, and this was made with about 100 feet of paracord. So if you have 200 feet or more, or even somewhere in between both of these figures, you can make a square or a rectangle that you can store in your car, in the bottom of your trunk. You can store it in a go bag or something of that nature, that you're not going to have to worry about coming uncoiled or getting loose and tangled up in whatever else you might have that paracord stored by. So what I'm going to show you how to do today is to use just a traditional crochet hook. There's several different kinds you can use that you can buy at a craft store. And then I'm also going to show you how easy it is to unravel this whenever you need to use it. So let's get right to it. Since you can see the completed paracord project here, I want to start by unraveling it so you can see how easy it is to come loose. And this is the end that we're going to start with after we get it all unraveled. This is going to be your working end, if you will, and this is the end that you would want to have readily accessible whenever you want to unravel it to use it for something else. So let's just get this going here. Since I tucked it in to tie it off, which I'll show you how to do in just a few minutes, I had to do a little unraveling there, but it's very simple to take apart. You can see it's ready to use for whatever you may need it for. And as long as you're not working with a super long length, you really don't have to worry about it getting tangled up on you. I'm going to show you two very basic crochet stitches in order to make this little crochet paracord square. So basically you just start with your end. We're gonna make a little slip knot. And I know the tail of my project a minute ago was a lot longer. It doesn't have to be. Whatever you're comfortable with is fine. So before I get started with the stitches, I wanted to show you two different crochet hooks, because depending on the type that you might have available to you, the hook portion could be possibly very different. This green hook is the one that I'm going to use. As you can see, it has a much deeper inset for it to grab the cord or whatever it is you're working with. This one here is a different brand. It's also a much older crochet hook. I think this was handed down to me by my grandmother. But some of them are still made exactly this way. If you're able to try out both types, that would be great. But if you're not, I would say look for the hook that has the deeper inset, and it might help you grab your paracord a little better. So we've got our slip knot here, and we've got our crochet hook, and you're going to put your hook into the slip knot, and we're going to make the first of the two stitches that I'll show you. This one is the chain. All you need to do is throw your cord over the top of the hook and pull it through. We're going to repeat the same motion until you've got enough stitches there to be as wide as you want your square or rectangle to be. Just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to do about 9 or so chain stitches, and then I'll show you how to turn and go in the opposite direction so that you can make a bigger square. So you can see it kind of forms a braid as you're working through. And if this is about the width of the square you want to make, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8 stitches. So I want to make one more, 9, because I'm going to need an extra one there so I can turn and go back in the opposite direction. Don't go into this first stitch that's right next to your hook. You're going to want to go into the second one and go into this half, which for my demonstration looks like the bottom, but as you're looking at your work, it's going to be the top half of the stitch. So you just put your hook through there, you pull your cord over the top of the hook one time, and you're going to pull it through both of these loops that were just on your hook. It can be a little slippery, but you'll get it. After that, you've got one loop back on your hook. You're going to go into the next stitch, put your cord over the top of your hook, pull through that first loop, and then pull through that second loop. Now we're not doing chain stitches anymore. Now we're doing what's called a slip stitch. And you're going to continue with slip stitches through the rest of the project. And that's going to make your stitch rows nice and tight and keep your cord together. Just to reiterate, I have one loop on my hook. I'm going in 1/2 of that chain stitch, wrapping my cord over the top of my hook, pulling through the first loop, and then pulling through the second loop. Now I'll continue this on until I have as many rows as it takes to finish off this cord, and then I'll come back and show you how to tie it off. So here we have the end of our working yarn, and essentially all you need to do is just kind of tie that off. And you can just wrap it over the top of your hook, pull it right through, and pull like that. And then you can just tuck your end, if you want to get it out of the way, tuck it into one of the existing loops, and you can, tuck it behind. So now that you have this working thread pulled through to the back, you can do the same with the thread that you started with if you want. You could tuck it into one of the stitches, so you just have your square, and you can store it however you want. They'll stack nice and neat on a shelf or in a bag, and you won't have to worry about them coming unraveled. And to get it going, and whenever you're ready to use your paracord, you simply just you just pull out that one working strand and you pull it, and like we did before, and you're good to go. And the more you practice, the more straight your stitches will look, and the better defined your square will be. The other thing we wanted to share with you today is how you can store type 1 paracord. You can also crochet it into a different shape. You would need to use a smaller hook than what we used a moment ago, but there is another way that I like to store yarn and string at home that I thought would translate well to type 1 paracord. So what I wanted to show you is a little nest, and what this actually is called in the yarn world is a center pull ball of whatever it is you're working with. And what this means is you wind it in a way where when you need to use your twine or string or yarn, you're going to be able to pull from the center to use whatever cord or yarn you have in hand. How we do this is simply using our thumb. You can use something like a metal stick or a wooden stick or something like that if you wanted to, but if all you have handy are your hands, then you're able to use that as well. So let me show you how easy this is to use whenever you're ready to. You simply just pull, and your cord will come right out of the center, and it will be like that until you get to the end. And then I'll show you how to rewind it like this. Essentially, how you want to get started is just to hold the cord in your hand like this. And I just kind of use my other fingers to kind of hold it in place, leave my thumb sticking out, and begin winding away from me. And you don't want to wind too tightly because you're going to need to slide it off of your thumb whenever you get finished. You want to wrap around your thumb, 5 or 6 times. And like I said, make sure you're still going to be able to slip that over your knuckle. And then after you get those 5 or 6 wraps, make sure that they're pushed together. You're going to start wrapping at a 45-degree angle. And you're probably going to have to hold with your index finger knuckle here, hold it in place until you get a few of these wraps going around. And it doesn't have to be perfect. As you get more wrapped together, it kind of holds its form better for you. But what you can do is you can kind of twist as you go so that you're keeping that 45-degree wrap overlapping easily on top of itself. If you're not able to twist your cord, then you're probably wrapping too tight. So as we get to the end of the ball, I'll show you what the finished nest looks like. Okay, so now we're back. We're approaching the end of our nest here. So I wanted to show you kind of what the finished product is coming together like. It definitely looks better the more you have wrapped up. You can see some of my previous wraps are a little wonky, but you know, that's okay. Don't worry about it. So just keep wrapping until you get to the end. And all I do is I'm going to tuck this end under a couple of the strands. And that's really it. And then you just slide it carefully off your thumb and you have a little nest that you can pull from the center if you're make a type 1 paracord bracelet, or if you just want to store it this way. One thing I did want to point out to note, since this type of cord is not very grippy, the strands can come apart easily, you may want to invest in some netting to slip over it to hold it together. That way, if you're going to store this in a drawer or a box that's going to get jostled around, you won't have to worry about your nest falling apart. We've linked in the article to some yarn sleeves that you can buy, or if your local produce department or your florist has any of those nets that come around apples or pears or certain type of flowers, you can probably just pick some up from there and slip those over your paracord nests and be good to go. So that's how you make a paracord rectangle or square and also a nest. Please let us know what you think and share with us how you store your paracord at home or at work. And check out the links at the bottom of the article for other ways that you can store paracord as well. Thanks for watching.